so let's jump to present day. So
Okay.
so 4 years ago, you find out that you have this growth, or so you said, on your pituitary gland. But I'll let you tell this story. You couldn't operate right away, but you just had this done in June? I think so, just in June. And you were 100 pounds more.
Well, I'm not
And
quite
just-
back to my normal weight, but I had
But-
gained 100 pounds. So, I mean, the story is that when my son, who's now 6.5, was a year old, I woke up one morning and I was extremely dizzy. I could not see very well. I was struggling to write emails, and through the course of that next month, I gained 30 pounds with no change to diet or exercise, and I just generally felt off. My dizzy spells became so bad that when my baby was in the car, I would pull over on the side of the road sometimes because I was fearful for his life. And it obviously got to a point where medically we needed to address it. And so I went to a doctor who first diagnosed me with MS. And fortunately, my father is a physician, and my father said, you know, that diagnosis just does not resonate for me. I don't think that this is right. I think there's something else going on. And so we got into Cleveland Clinic, and we went to Cleveland, met with the #2 neurosurgeon in the country. He sat and met with my father and I for 2 hours, and he said, you know, I'm convinced that you don't have MS, but I'm convinced that you do have something neurological that's mimicking MS. And I think the reason why you're having the symptoms like weight gain and forgetfulness and dizzy spells and all of these other debilitating and chronic symptoms that you're having, he said, I think you're having those because I think there's a tumor on your brain. I think I know exactly where it's located, and I think it's been missed on previous MRIs. So 2 hours later, I was back in his office with MRI results in hand, and he was exactly right. There was a tumor on my pituitary that was creating kind of a trifecta of dysfunction in my body. As most of you probably know, your pituitary, regulates your hormones, your blood sugar, and your thyroid. And so as a woman, that's really a triple whammy, a triple threat. And when one goes, it's like a tripod. They all get out of whack. And so that journey took me through another 4.5 years because they didn't want to operate right away. You know, it wasn't big enough, and the side effects weren't bad enough to feel like they wanted to go in and tinker with my brain yet. And so the next 4.5 years were kind of a sit around and wait scenario. And as somebody who had previously been bulimic and had, you know, been really crippled with insecurity because of my past, it was really a time where I had to dig deep and really think about the tools that I now teach my clients. What is the life that I want to live? What is the value that I know I bring to the table? Because through that process, I did gain 100 pounds.
I didn't recognize yourself.
I didn't recognize myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, for anyone to say that you can be internally strong enough to not allow that to affect you to some degree, I just don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah.
And so I had surgery in June, and that was by far the scariest day of my life, not knowing if I would ever see my 6-year-old baby again. And luckily survived, and am here to tell the tale. But what I can tell you is that going through an experience like that, you know, I told my husband before the surgery that morning, I said, I'm not going back to corporate America. And I don't take away from any of you that have a corporate job, but it just was not my passion, and I knew that. It did not get me excited when I got out of bed in the morning. It did not make my blood pump. And I told him, I said, you know, I know it's a risk. I know I'm walking away from a steady income. I know there will be money that we invest into rebranding my business, because I've done this consulting for 18 years, but it's always been a side hustle. I was never brave enough and courageous enough to say, I'm all in. I'm taking the leap. And, you know, to go through an experience like that, I said, babe, I'm not doing it. I'm not going back. When we get through this, because mindset matters, right? And what you say and what you tell the universe or your God, the universe hears that, right? And you have to be very intentional about what you want to create. And so I said to my husband, when we get through this, because we're going to get through this, I'm not going back to corporate America. I'm rebranding. I'm going full steam ahead with my business because it makes me passionate, which in turn is going to make me a better wife and a mother, a better friend, a better daughter, a better sister. But I know I can serve more people in the work that I do and with the story that I have to tell, because I have had roadblocks that I've had to overcome in life. And so that's why I'm here.